All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 2 o'clock. We're going to get started. What's that?
I was making sure the author was here, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dale's right there. Okay. Where's the...
The agenda.
Yeah, is this still just got this one bill on there? That's it. Okay. All right. So we got one bill. Won't take too long. If you need to sign up to speak, there's a paper up there. Whoever the last person is, please bring it up here.
I left your folder over there, Jay.
All right. All right. Mr. Dale Washburn, Representative Washburn, the hero of the General Assembly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked this question yesterday as I was presenting. Is there any reason why this laptop has to be open up here on the... Thank you. I can't ever figure out why it's here open, and it makes it awfully difficult for somebody to handle whatever paperwork they have. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's an honor to be here and with you today. And ladies and gentlemen of the committee, we're here to present House Bill 1096, which is LC 365677. Mr. Chairman, as I told you a moment ago, we had a meeting this morning with some people and worked out some changes, and I want to tell the committee about those. Are very brief. And so that will be, after the changes, what we'll be presenting today. If you will, look at line 26 on the bill on page 2. The first word on that line is shall. Please strike that and write may above it. Line 26, first word is shall. Please strike that and write may instead. And on line 32, please strike the last word on line 32, which is from, and then inserted will be from granting a hardship waiver or. And I'll read the whole thing in just a moment. From granting a hardship waiver or. And after or, of course, the words on line 33, imposing additional penalties as otherwise provided by law or by rules or regulations. So is that change clear to the members of the committee, those changes? Okay, thank you for handling that way. This bill seeks to address issues. We have, of course, many of our organizations and boards, et cetera, require, and professions and vocations require continuing education. And this bill enhances the state government services and optimizes customer servants at state agencies in dealing with all of that. People tracking their CE, trying to see how much more they need, getting the credits done, et cetera. There's some confusion about that. And this bill grants statutory authority that's required to ensure that all agencies are empowered to do this in a better way, in a better digital way. And so the bill seeks to resolve these problems because it seeks to modernize and streamline a tracking system that just assists all of that. And so, Mr. Chairman, with that is the bill. It is a good bill. It will help in all of our continuing education challenges, and so I will ask for any questions.
All right, and thinking, so basically what you're doing here, you're not saying they have to, they may do this. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I said, what you're doing here, implementing this right here, you're just saying that they may do this now, and just kind of streamlining everything.
They may be able to engage off premises
Okay,
a vendor to do that.
okay, I got a couple of questions. Well, hang on a minute, we'll get, yeah. Well, let's see. Hang on a minute. Chairman Hawkins, did you, hang on, did you,
Yes.
okay, go
You
ahead.
got it? Okay, thank you. So let me understand this. We're going to expect Secretary of State's offices to keep up with each course of each person out there that are licensed in this state? Is that what you're saying?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. The Secretary of State's office is here to speak in support of the bill, so I may wait.
In support of the bill?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you step in a deep hole and hit your head? This just sounds incredibly difficult to me. Being a dentist, we have 40 every 2 years. I would have never thought of someone keeping up with what I was doing with continuing education, which I have no problem with. But wouldn't I have to enter that into a site somewhere for them to know it? Or are we going to have the people doing the continuing education require them to report it to the Secretary of State?
It is my understanding that this is the statutory change is necessary for them to engage a tracking system or a private firm that
Okay,
can do
so
the
this is something you want to do.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a great service. Just sounds like a lot of work to me, but okay.
Well, sometimes to do great work, you gotta do hard things. All right, Representative Maynor.
Thank you, Chair. So this past, okay, sorry.
I'm
This
gonna get you.
past time when we were renewing the licenses, we had to input our information into this CE broker. So we're already doing it. We did it. We just did it. And so I guess when we hear from the Secretary of State's office, my question to them would be, was it required, since we're already doing it, we're just, okay,
This
yeah,
is,
my question
yeah.
will wait for him.
Yeah,
I'll
this
wait.
is a statutory authorization to let them engage private tracking companies or vendors that do private tracking, as I'm stating. I think I'm stating that correctly. This is to enhance the system. The intention is to make it easier for folks that have to track CE credits and get that done. And it is, the Secretary of State is in support of this bill.
Representative Bennett.
Bennett. Thank you. Thank you to my friend, Representative Washburn.
Thank you.
I also want to follow up with Representative Maynor's question, having just gone through this process myself, and there currently exists a CE broker platform, and that is where I enter and other professionals enter all of their continuing education requirements. So with this statutory requirement, is it going to automatically, whatever platform they use, will it automatically send to the boards all of the CEU requirements for each licensee? Or I'm just trying to understand the technical leap. How is it different? Like Representative Maynor said, how is that different from what we currently have, and how will that enhance the Secretary of State opportunity to go forward?
Why don't we hear from the man that knows?
I would suggest that is a more efficient way to answer this. I am not an expert in these fields as far as all of the mechanics of doing it. The intention of the bill is to provide the statutory change that's necessary to let the Secretary of State utilize some vendors to do this more efficiently, and I will let Gabe respond to that.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for carrying this bill. To his point, we do support this because of several reasons. One, it's going to help licensees. Representative Bennett, your situation there, you have CE Broker, there's 41 boards, the vast majority do not. And there have been multiple interpretations by different assistant attorney generals that sometimes they don't need the statutory authority, sometimes they do. We'd rather have the statutory authority, and your life's going to stay the exact same it is now. And what's going to happen, to your question, Representative Maynard, is that everybody will have a platform that they individually put their own data in. Now, there's a particular vendor who does a lot of these, but they're not the only vendor, so we will go through a procurement process to decide, because even if it costs the applicants in the state nothing, which the current situation would, we still have to measure them on the level of service and what they can do. But CE Broker is currently doing how many of our boards right now?
We have 6 at the secretary.
6 right now. We want to get it to everybody. And this is going to help us with moving licenses as well, because by law, we have to do audits of the continuing education. Right now, supposed to do 3%, which takes an analyst going and tracking down and confirming that it was done, which takes time, phone calls, emails, when they could be working on regular licenses. This will allow us to have a 100% audit at all times. We will always know if you have your continuing education done and up to date. And the question that usually comes up is how they make money. It's free as a baseline for you as a licensee to put your information in. Then they have a 2-tier system above that. And the top one's like the concierge service, where they'll find you the education, they'll sign you up, they'll get you over there. And the other one's sort of in between those two things. And that's how they make their money. So that's why it costs the licensee nothing and costs the state nothing. And the intention is to set up an API, which is basically, I'm a liberal arts major from Georgia, I always forget these acronyms, but it lets one computer talk to another computer. So once you put the data into CE Broker under the new goals system, it will automatically populate to your dashboard. The analyst will see it, you will see it, and then it's very streamlined. It will free up hours for our, handful of analysts we have in each one of the different trades that they could be using on moving licenses forward, and let the boards focus on, compliance and complaints. So that's the reason we're for this. It's good for the taxpayers. It's good for the licensees. It's good for the system. So anything we can do to support that, we are very hopeful of. And if people have existing ones now, there's some boards that have existing ones that are not CE Broker. It's not our intent to move them over. But as an administrative thing, we would like to get a singular contract, so when I have an analyst, they know how it works regardless of what board they're in. But we're not here to make life harder for any of our licensees. We'll make it easier for all of them. That's why we're in support of this bill.
Well, thank you very much, and I think y'all get a fair amount of complaints, and I think this would make things easier.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Yeah, hang on. Let's see. Go ahead.
Let me thank you publicly for the response and the sensitivity that you and your office has given to ensuring that, at least from the physical therapy board, that you went the extra mile to ensure that everyone who wanted to be licensed or relicensed by the deadline was done. So I want to thank you.
We appreciate it. We reached 87%, which is the highest the PTs have ever gotten to before the deadline. So we feel pretty good about that. I think the constant communication and working with their associations helped out a lot.
Got a couple more questions for you. Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my question is around line 29, 31, and 33, where it states that a professional licensing board shall not renew a license. Then skip down to 31, continue in accordance or verified by a continuing education tracking system. And so by my estimate, there's about 20 to 30% of practitioners and professionals that require some form of continuing education.
I think it's probably higher than that, but yes.
It could be higher, right? And so my question is, if the third party is going to be the one that's tracking, and the Secretary of State is the one I presume is auditing and making sure that everybody's in compliance, what are we saying about the 20 to 30% who may not have the automation capability, right? They may not have, they may be in rural Georgia, some part where they don't have an internet or broadband or some sort of capacity to meet the needs. Are we saying to them that we're not going to renew their license? Because the way I read lines 29, if they do not comply with a continuing education tracking solution that's automated by this bill, then the Secretary of State is not going to renew their license.
The board wouldn't be the one renewing the license.
Well, the
But you're-
board.
And my 20-30% misunderstood your thing earlier. The level of people who have phones and connectivity through their phones is extremely high, especially for these kind of professionals. And we're moving to basically a 100% digital environment across the board. We're trying to get rid of paper altogether. What we can do is we can work with the boards on what we call the outliers. We try to pass rules and laws that cover 95, 96, 97. There's always going to be those things, which is the reason we have the hardship language in here now. There could always be a situation that can arise, and this is meant to address that. This is not a way to say we're excluding somebody, but nearly everybody, especially this level of professional, who most of our licensees are, contractors, physical therapists, oddly geologists, things like that, they've got a phone for the most part. And if they don't, they have a public library. And if they don't, they can come into our office in Macon or in Atlanta. We can work with them on those kind of situations. But we need to get to a point where we can have the efficiencies. If we fail to pass a rule that will address the 98%, it's going to slow 100% of the licenses down. So that's why we're trying to pass this type of rule. But I understand the sensitivity to it, which is why the hardship clause is in there. And if we can free up people's time, we can have those kind of conversations. And they can call me. I just got off the phone with a woman a little while ago. I got her license number in my pocket right now. I'm going to take care of it. So there's a way to get those minor amounts. But this is to make the system better for everyone as a whole.
Okay. May I follow up, Mr. Chairman?
Very quick, Phil.
Yeah, so I appreciate the perspective you provided, but I guess the other part are the additional penalties. What kind of penalties on lines 33 that?
It would be the stuff that already exists in law. Like they would have a suspension potentially. There could be a reinstatement cost, but it's not an additional penalty. It's just basically saying, follow the law that already exists. There's not new penalties contemplated in this law.
Okay. All right, because I guess my only concern is because there's no one size fit all. And I know when I was in the military for 22 years, the things we did in the Navy may or may not been germane to Air Force or another branch. But we made it fit. We didn't penalize that sailor or that soldier, but we made it fit. And so that I just get concerned when we start talking about a third party vendor having the responsibility for the state to track all these practitioners.
Well, understand, they're not doing the tracking themselves. They're giving the platform.
Okay.
It's the individual licensee themselves who has responsibility for putting that in. The board still sets the policy as to
Okay.
how much education there needs to be, the qualified teachers in those curriculums. That is all still board responsibility under this law. This is truly about just a platform for somebody to type in their information and upload their continuing education. And it's there as a reminder for them too. So it's an easier tool. This will make life so much better for so many people in so many ways. It's just, the secretaries are very happy this bill's coming as we're trying to modernize and streamline this. Okay. But I understand we will find problems about how to implement these things, and we will address those problems as they come up. But we can't think of everything before we do it. We need to do it first, and our goal is to make sure that everybody wants to work, can work, and that's the goal of this process.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Representative Hawkins. Which one?
Let me ask you, the way it's working right now, I assume it's working like the dental board, and that is they just go in and survey like 10% or something each
3
year?
right now. 3.
I'm sorry.
3%.
3%. Okay. Is that what the other boards are doing?
In the PLB section, we attempt to do 3%. We don't always make it, but we usually make it, as my understanding. But it takes a lot of time, and it's a very manual process. If we do this, we will essentially have 100% auditability and visibility and transparency into every single licensee to know. There's a possibility if somebody lies on their forms, you could have somebody going 20 years without getting their continuing education. This
Right.
would take care of that situation.
Well, how will it take care of it? Because they're still self-reporting on this,
They're
right?
self-reporting, but it has to be verified when it goes into the CE broker system, essentially.
So it has to be verified.
The system's better this way because they're in there saying they've got it, and we know they're saying they've got it, basically. Am I saying it essentially right?
Yes, we also have provider reporting.
There's provider reporting, so both sides can be audited on that side. I forgot about that one section, thank you. So the provider is also saying, yes, this person did this. So you have two sides of that.
Okay, so the people giving the CE courses are going to, I guess they're going to put in a list or some way let you know that, yeah, that person was in the course? Is that how you're verifying it?
Yes, if I'm free to, am I free to?
Yeah.
You can tell me, and I can say yes. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. I just
That is
trying
how
to
the
get
system works. I mean,
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this clear because when I go home, I'm going to have a lot of folks asking about this. But what did you do to me now?
for them, their lives are going to be easier because they still, it's the responsibility of the licensees right now to send it to us, either if it's by paper or on the old MLO system that we're in right now. But we have no good way of auditing it other than manually tracking it down.
They send a questionnaire out and say, "Did you do this, 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 and this?" When they renew your license, and you go, "Yeah, I got all of it."
I swear,
And then 3% gets
yeah.
audited, and that's how the system works right now.
to catch it. And like the auto dealers, they have 6 hours they have to do every 2 years, one of which has to be on tax tag and title, and they just check the box saying, yes, I did that. And they're using another group besides CE Broker, but we're going to make sure we put steps to make sure that system stays the same and can talk to our new goal system too. This is to make things better, and I guarantee we're going to run into issues we didn't fully know for certain, but we will always find a way to work through it.
Yeah, I'm not questioning your intention. I think your intention is noble. I'm just trying to think like, what's this going to be thought of by the people out there, the people at home? It's like, well, someone's now keeping up with this and that, you know.
Well, they already were, supposedly, but only 3% would get caught.
I don't know if they felt that way. I'm not, I'm not arguing with you. I see where you're going. I'm just trying to think of the other folks, the people out there that are working hard every day and trying to figure out what they're going to do when they get through at 6 o'clock with their family, and they're blowing through. It's hard for these folks, these professionals, harder today than it was 5 years ago and 10 years ago. And I just want to be careful we're not putting another rock on their wagon. That's the reason I'm asking all the questions.
Here's the reality.
Yeah.
Our current system is a giant rock on their wagon because they don't have the transparency unless they're dealing with the board all the time and talking to their friends and having an association tracking them down to make sure they're doing it. The new system has a dashboard that they can go to at any time and see where they're at. This is going to be better for them than the current system right now that they have to physically track things down. And one of the reasons we're doing goals, which is a separate and apart from this, that's the Georgia Online Application and Licensing System, is to allow for that, because when we saw applicants talking to our analysts, the average touches in between was 6, going back and forth, and phone calls and emails. This will make it a lot easier once we've completed the whole process, and that's what we're trying to make it better for those people. Because you're right, it is harder for all of them than it was 5 years ago.
The way the system is now, you get a little card that said you took the course. At the end of the course, and you go home, you put it in your little folder that says CE, and then you don't look at it again unless you get audited.
Right.
And you have a cheat sheet and say, well, I've got 40 hours now, and I did my CPR, and I'm ready if they want to audit me.
But a lot of people forget, and this system will help for that.
It's not too hard the way it's working right now.
Well, it is if you're like me and you put that in your back pocket or throw it in your truck dash, and then you can't never find it.
I give up.
I appreciate that, sir. We're trying to make it better.
Minor.
Thank you, Chair. So right now, when people are taking their continuing, and this is for clarity, it's not a question. It is for the people listening. Right now, when you take a continuing education class, you can take it in person, and they will give you a certificate at the end, or you can take it online. More and more people are doing continuing education classes online. When I was renewing my CEUs for this year, since there are different platforms that you can use, I said, well, which one is the most cost effective? And so I narrowed it down to 2 different ones. But while I was narrowing it down to 2 different ones, I realized that one of them partnered with CE Broker. So I took my classes through the platform that had an automatic partnership with CE Broker. So that was like, oh, well, this is great, because now I don't have to input all of my information from the online platform I use into CE Broker, because it was streamlined and it happened automatically. So that's one piece to it. And so when you renew your license, all of that is actually already done, and you do not have to worry about going back in and typing in those individual things, because if you did your classes online, then it's already there for the Secretary of State's office. I didn't do it. The platform sent it to the Secretary of State's office. If you take your class in person, when you get home that day or before you leave the center, you can go online to CE Broker and update it, and you can do that for your 40 hours or however long the, that professional credits that they need. But after you complete all of them, when it's time to renew, everything is automatically done. So I support the bill, and I understand now that the reason we're doing this, since we were already doing it, is because you said there were different attorney general opinions, and this is so they will not have to have opinions anymore.
This is a belt and suspenders to let us do the good work for people of Georgia, and since you did a great sales job for this, if we're done, can I walk away now?
That's the longest. That's the longest way I've got to. I support this bill, and I've seen it or heard. All right, one more time. And then we still got 4 people or 5 want to talk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a closeout. I do support the bill. I just wanted clarity for the people that are listening, following up with Representative Maynard, who followed up with Representative Hawkins. I wanted understood that there are partners with CE brokers that it will automatically be in the system, but there are others that are not partners with CE brokers, so that will be the self-reporting part of it. And the time, and everyone doesn't always enter their CEUs into whatever platform at the time that it's done. So I just wanted that transparency there, that unless the continuing education sponsors are reporting, it doesn't automatically get into CE broker unless there's a partnership there or you take it from CE brokers. I just wanted that clarification. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is a correct statement.
All right. Well, I think we're done with you now. Maybe.
Well, thank you all very much, and we
thank you.
appreciate the support for the bill.
All right. Let's see here. What is that last name? Oh, Richard, that starts with an L. Yes. Tell us your name and who you with, or.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. My name is Richard Lamphere, and I'm with the Georgia Nurses Association. And we've been doing this since 2015 to renew our license, going online, uploading our documents that has our continuing education. The ease of this is really, to reiterate what's been talked about from the committee members, but I can go in. For example, on Monday, I'm taking a continuing education class in person. I'll upload that document. It will show on my dashboard how many more I need to do before my license is renewed. When I go to renew my license, it automatically stops me if I don't have enough continuing education. So what this bill is going to do is going to help me on the back end. We have about 85,000 nurses that get their license renewed every year. 3% of those, so I'll use 100,000, roughly 3,000 nurses should be audited. So now with this new legislation, that will be automated, so 3,000 nurses won't have to stop what they're doing, take time away from their job, take time away from their families. It will be automatically audited on the back end and make sure that they've had those continuing educations done or other ways to renew our license. So CE is just one aspect of renewal for nurses in Georgia.
All right.
So we're in full support of this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess that's enough talk. John Halliburton. This has nothing to do with renewing your lobbyist badge.
Thank you, the Honorable Chairman, Jason Ridley. Thank you very much. John Halliburton, I'm with the Georgia Independent Auto Dealers Association. There's 8,000 independent used car dealers in Georgia. We also, to echo the gentleman, we also currently can turn in our certificate electronically, and we just want to make sure that whoever we're using right now, I'm not sure who the company is that the used car dealers are utilizing, but they want to make sure that that process will not change if this bill passes to a different vendor or a different process, because that would mean 8,000 used car dealers calling our office asking how to get this new process done. I did talk to I did talk to Gabriel, and he said that if this bill passes, he believes that we can continue using who we use now. I believe so. If that's the case, then we're okay.
Good. Well, it's good. Yeah, because we don't want y'all have to go through title tech, like all the dealers had to go through when y'all implemented that. No, but yeah, I think it does. It's going to work. With that, y'all have already checked that part out, haven't you?
This is really a question of our internal processes. If it's already going, my intention is to not change it. But that is this lets other boards who aren't
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Is it Aubrey Villains?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Aubrey Valines with the Georgia Optometric Association, the Georgia Chiropractic Association, the Advanced Practice Registered Nurses, and the Licensed Professional Counselors Association. This bill simply mandates electronic compliance for continuing ed. The original bill we did not support, but through the guidance and wisdom of the chairman and Representative Washburn, we've come up with something that we could live with. And I think that's before you today. I want to briefly mention what that is. And then before, it only provided for off-premises tracking solution. Now it can be in-house or on-premises as well. We were also concerned about taking discretion away from the board, lines 29 through 32, where they would have to refuse to renew a license if they didn't meet that compliance. We think the board should have discretion. Representative Washburn put that language in there by talking about hardship matters. We think hardship matters are important. We just went through COVID. When we had COVID, we had to suspend continuing education. Then we had to go to 10 hours of electronic or half of it on electronic, but we shared many of the concerns brought up by Representative Jackson and Chairman Hawkins, but I think they've been addressed with the substitute or amended version, and that's all I'd have to say, but I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So what is the will of the committee on the bill? Okay, I got a motion to pass. We got a second? Got a second? All right. So we're going to vote the bill as a whole.
Want to get to the amendments made first before we vote on the bill.
I think we voted on the bill first and then the amendment. Okay, well, all right. It's been a long day already, and it was a longer night. Thank y'all to y'all. All right, so we're going to do the bill as amended.
You need to make a motion to amend and then state the amendment.
Okay, do I got a motion to amend this bill? Yes, okay, I got a second. Second. All right, so the amendment, we're going to vote on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the amendment passes. Now we're going to vote on the bill as a whole. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. You got the motion. You're good.
Okay, all right. So the bill, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. You have your bill, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Happy Valentine's to everybody today.